Thank you so much for joining us on a Wednesday morning. We're saying good morning and welcome to Breakfast Central, bright and early. Hope you had a wonderful night rest. Well, as for us, we were busy taking a look at some of the breaking stories. The one from River State, the baboon who's known to be Zazu being released. We need to slip that in.
With a nice haircut.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's nice, but
He looks different.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm Joe Hansen. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the show. I am Olive Emodi. Know that every morning on the show, we give you the opportunity to be a part, not just by watching, but also sharing your thoughts and your comments on any of the biggest stories that we'll be reviewing, especially from the front pages of the newspapers. So stick with your phones. When we open the phone lines during the newspaper review, feel free to call in. We want to hear your thoughts.
And I'm Gbenga. I stand on existing protocol. They've said it all. No need to, let's get straight to the gist, sharp, as they ought.
I always just wait for Gbenga to do something funny. And he never disappoints.
Anyway,
I'm standing on existing protocol.
3 hours. We've used almost 2 minutes, guys. Let's move on.
Let's move.
Too many things to talk about, especially in River State.
Is standing on exactly. Who is standing on existing protocol, or who is not standing on existing protocol?
The sole administrator, the only one, the sole one. So he's, I think that position. There's a saying, power corrupts.
And absolute power corrupts absolutely.
I guess it's feeling emperor-like. Even the substantial governor doesn't it doesn't enjoy those sort of emperor-like powers. He has to defer to the State House of Assembly for ratification. But this man doesn't even have commissioners. Exactly, class prefect. But let's get to the gist.
Well, the sole administrator has summoned the suspended governor of River State and asked him to come and show workings, come and explain why you did this and this, come and show balance, and just basically summoning him to come and answer questions. And some would say give reason why he should be reinstated. But Rivers people are not taking this kindly. In fact, some have said that the person who is there as an imposter has no right to call a democratically elected governor. Someone, it's not even saying, I would like
friendly meeting, chit-chat.
Well, it might, so that's another thing. What if it is the media that is...
No, it's not the media. We saw that statement from the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the appointed one.
Yes, Warika.
Yes, Professor.
Yes. Well, so the number of people have reacted differently to this. They've said that it's very disrespectful, insulting, and that he has no legal power whatsoever to summon a democratically elected governor, regardless of whether he's been suspended or not. And that he is acting beyond his capacities, acting beyond his powers that were never given to him in the first place by the people of River State.
Absolutely. I mean, the SSG to the government, the one known as Professor Ibibia Warika, said that this summon is very, very important, that it is actually an official inquiry into the appointments made by the suspended River State governor. They want to know how he appointed people during his almost 2 years in office. There also talks about this summon going way beyond the constitutional rights of the sole administrator. It's a case of saying, Gbenga, you've appointed someone, or there's a king, and then all of a sudden the king is told to go on a short recess, and while he's out on a recess,
the regent is doing anyhow.
The regent says, "Hey, king, come before me." So there are different, I would say, interpretations of this. However, there's also a clear interpretation that Nigerians are wondering if we are going to see all of a sudden democracy that was fought for slip and turn into what
the most annoying part of this thing? And attendance is mandatory. This process forms part of the sole administrator's ongoing efforts to restore transparency and accountability and lasting peace in the governance of River State.
This has the tone of a VC summoning students or secondary school principal summoning.
Honestly, like you're calling, it's like an employer summoning his employee. The sole administrator of River State is not an employer.
When your employer summoned you, is either, when they use that tone, is to answer a query. But for normal meetings and discussions, they don't sound so commanding. I don't know if it's a professor or
it was the professor who made the mistake.
Or the vice admiral that drafted that.
But Sole Administrator must have approved the letter.
Exactly.
Or could it be the professor?
So maybe the professor wrote a soft one, and then Mr. Ibas, looking at himself as a former Navy chief, said, "This is too. Let's make it hard. Let's have."
This is a bit.
Or it could be the other way around.
Some would say that it's disrespectful to the people in Rivers State, because the truth is, first of all, they never even accepted you. They never chose you to be their leader. You were the leader that was, I don't know if you're a leader, you're an administrator that was foisted upon them due to certain political reasons here and there, allegations of unrest or whatever it is. You were never chosen by the people of Rivers State.
You're not even from Rivers.
You're not even from Rivers. There have been rumors and, Rivers people complaining about how you have handled the affairs in Rivers State. So it's just like, people are complaining, I'll put salt to injury. That's what it feels like. And it really should be addressed. And I am hoping for...
And Joe mentioned the legal perspective earlier.
I'm glad we're having a lawyer coming in
to come and talk about what you guys always say is going beyond the armpits. Sorry, armpits
of the law.
Not the law doesn't have armpits. I'm getting somewhere. I'm getting somewhere. So how do you reining him? How do you contain his excesses? And I'm happy you haven't mentioned it here, but there's word that the senators
the Senate made a statement yesterday that the current sole administrator needs to, pipe low, relax. There are certain things that when we had a joint session before we agreed that, yes, the sole administrator should be in Rivers State, we also had analyzed certain things that he could do. Basically, there are do's and don'ts. And let's not forget that the Constitution does not in any way show that the sole administrator was elected by the people. Of course, he's just there to actually, bring peace, stopgap measure, basically. That's what he's there for. But it's not looking like that is what is happening now. It's looking like it's a case of, hey, you need to answer to me.
No.
I am the boss.
That's wrong.
Come, sit down. The reactions I saw on social media really got me playing a picture in my mind. I sat down and I said, okay, let me play the picture. Imagine if it was the time of the current president
as a governor
in Lagos State, and then the ruling president, former General Olusegun Obasanjo, had sent someone
we
there,
would never hear the last of it,
and say, okay, take away the Lagos State governor. He shouldn't be there. You're the sole administrator. Stay in charge. And then all of a sudden, imagine the general, or calling the governor then and say, you need to appear
elected
before me.
Okay, actually, so I think that's
under what powers?
Who will greet who? Let me ask a question. Sorry, guys. Hold on. So he's going to come in, and then who will stand up for who?
Okay, now let's act.
What is the
Can I go and get coffee while for this?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you.
So who will stand up for
I'm
who?
the sole administrator, you are Fubara. So you've come for the meeting.
Okay, so I've come. What do I address you as? My able sole administrator.
Your Excellency.
Is the sole administrator an excellency?
I mean,
that's another thing we also
he's acting governor.
He's acting, not as a governor.
Temporary governor.
You know what? I think we should move on from this story.
Okay.
So, regardless of what the position is, and I know there will be those who will give argument as to the fact that having a sole administrator, this is not the first time it's happened. They will tell you that the state of emergency has been invoked in General Olusegun Obasanjo. Goodluck Jonathan did not we did not remove the governors. But the question is, have they acted within the ambit of the law? Has he acted, or has he stepped beyond his powers as a sole administrator? And should the governor be accountable? Should he explain himself to the sole administrator? What would typically be expected is that the National Assembly, a number of the actions of the sole administrator should be ratified by the National Assembly. But then again, we'll have a lawyer, Barrister Evans Ufeli, who joins us much later this morning, and then we can expand on this conversation even further. But the Nigerian police is in the news.
Yeah. I mean, they're in the news for a certain reason. A video circulated online yesterday where a police officer was seen crying. Okay. He first of all had complained that the meager sum that they're collecting, which is about 53,000 or 57 or something, is not even enough, but yet they are being killed, especially in problematic areas. And then he pointed to their alleged police station as a video, as what we could see in the video, and saying, look. And he started shedding tears. Now, on the other hand, while that video was circulated, another video surfaced where mobile police officers were seen standing in a certain position, of course, like you are about to stand, the president is coming, you know, so everybody at stand firm. And a foreigner was doling out cash to them, and they were all collecting it and, you know, showing some form of courtesy. Thank you so much, thank you so much. And this was videoed and also put on social media. It's
not just that it was videoed and put on social media. The foreigners, these Asian people, were also doing the video as far.
And they were making comments in Mandarin.
Let's not even explain about it. Let's take a look at those videos back.
Let's start from there.
3,000 as a target. I'm dying in Yobe. Here, look at how they burn our team. Look at how many people have died. Nigeria, look into our problem. Nigeria, look into our problem. We are dying. No help. What are we serving this country for? Why? Nothing. Hungry servicemen. God is there. Thank you.
蒋总跟他们发小费了。你，
走开。
这都是赖拉，都是1000的赖拉给的。
蒋贵人，来
，200赖拉相当于那个1块钱。发钱了。一个人是5000赖拉。
杨外头。看他帅一点吧，都给一张。
帅的都给钱啊！帅的就多给一张。
好像谢谢。
Would they try this thing?
It's
ashamed.
It's very unfortunate.
I'm ashamed. And there are many layers to this conversation. First of all, again, it highlights the state of poverty amongst Nigeria's police. You know, you can see that the Nigerian police, they're in need of money. We can't deny this.
Beyond the poverty, I wouldn't say poverty, I would say dignity.
Okay, I'm going to come to that. There's poverty first, because whether we like it or not,
the first video,
these people, in the first video and even in the second video, because it's only poverty that sometimes will make you do certain kind of things. It's when the NSAS protest happened, what a number of young Nigerians were advocating for, whilst they were advocating for the reforms in the police. Part of the reform was that the police should be paid properly. They should be given the necessary tools to be able to carry out their jobs like decent human beings. But that video is not only disrespectful, it strips them of human dignity, and the fact that they even had the nerve to bring out their phones to film.
So it was like a tourist attraction thing. The gentleman also called the other lady to come and spray. You know,
and then they were like, I wish
there
could understand or interpret what they were saying.
We should try and get
that interpretation to know if they were saying, look at them, maybe
or the comments.
People, or the
I don't really care about what they were saying, to be honest.
So it's
just
key,
that video, but the picture, the man filming, his daughter filming, so they will now put our Nigerian police on TikTok or something.
It's disgraceful. It's a bad taste, a sour taste to the mouth.
And who's the most senior policeman there? I mean, if you want to give a gift, there are dignified ways of doing it. Call the most senior person, put it in an envelope. Why do you have to make a movie?
You have to film it.
Film it.
And it's for 5,000 naira.
Yes, and then the dignity part. You think if somebody comes here and wants to show appreciation for anyone, I wouldn't put... So there's poverty and there's dignity, and we should also... Look, the fact that you're not financially at a certain level doesn't mean
that you should
you should allow yourself to be rubbished. I have a friend that works with an international development agency. She was in South Sudan, and she said, you know, when you move around, they're in their tents made of tarpaulin, they've been through hell, and they still offer you coffee in those makeshift tents. They have a sort of appreciation and dignity.
Yeah.
They don't beg. They would never beg in South Sudan. So I don't understand this mentality of anything for us.
You know why
at the
this will
slightest...
happen? You know why I think that this will happen? Because if we even check our we Nigerians, we also abuse the police. It's only in Nigeria that you see that they're using a police officer to do school. Police officer will carry madam's handbag. You know, doing all those kind of menial jobs. So if they've come here and they've seen the tradition here that there's really no respect for the police.
They only worship money. Yeah. Because money gets respect.
And I think that those people should be called to question, because it's not only when a military officer in the uniform decides to do one nice TikTok dance video in the uniform that all hell will be left.
But they have. The IGP has come out to say that he's summoning everybody that was in that video. They do, according to the IG, talking about Ekpetoko, he's saying that they have the footage, they have the video, and they are able to identify each of those officers, and as we speak today, well, we should be able to get feedback that
because it's rubbish the image of the Nigerian police.
Sahara reporters. Okay.
No, not just it's also it's correct. It's also an X that they've been summoned. And
let's hope.
But that's what we didn't talk about is the first video.
Oh yes. So in a way,
the man was crying there, talking about their office being burnt,
by who?
And he was saying, "Please come to our aid," and he called God. That God sees, God knows everything, and so on. Nigerians were reacting to that. Let's see if we can get the reactions as well on what people were saying after that video, made it to social media. People were reacting. Some of the comments were like, the ones who are corrupt and benefiting from the corrupt system will definitely come for him eventually. And I'm shocked that the IGP, talked about the ones that were collecting cash, but did not address the one that was crying.
Probably has.
We did in 2020. We asked for your salary increase. You said we were the problem, and your colleagues in the army shot at us, and now many have left for greener pastures. May God help Nigeria. And then there's a final tweet as well. If civilians want to protest for them, they will still be the ones to use guns and tear gas to chase us inside, like they did to our team lead reporter Benedict Akede, saying, it's okay, we'd find those who attacked you, but nothing was done. Bottom line. We have a problem. It's a systemic problem. And I think now that we're talking about it this morning while sipping coffee, our hearts are indeed aching because we don't know where to start solving the problem.
I mean, Mr. Shore talked about it last week when he was in the studio about the issue of police welfare and better training for them, because they're also Nigerians. They're part of the system and they're going through, talking about Shore, that's his tweet there. These are shameful acts by men of Mopo, one of police of the Nigerian police in Kaduna. They reduce nobody because of greed and indiscipline. This is why I keep saying that the IGP must leave the police force and let fresh hands run the Nigerian police force. It's a shame of the nation. It's been going on for too long, and we really need to address this once and for all.
Right.
The issue of police welfare and discipline.
There's another reaction. Someone says, this video alone is enough for the IGP to resign and all the shameless officers to be prosecuted and dismissed from duty. This is the lowest that the Nigerian police force can descend. This is despicable and a shame to whatever the police represents. Not even one officer in the video declined or refused to accept the peanuts. There was a video of a Ghanaian police officer who refused money, a gift of 500 cedis, I believe, from Caesar Prank after accepting the flower he gave her. She's an example of how officers, yes, I remember that video. She's an example of how officers should behave to gain public trust and respect.
They knew there was a camera. How do you even do that in front of a camera?
Again, because you know that impunity, nothing will happen.
Yeah.
So it's not only when Rai comes to rant about the Nigerian government that people will be foaming in the mouth and saying, oh, she's an NYC, she's a core member.
She's living above her means.
No, not even that. That she's a member. She's serving. Exactly. She's serving the Nigerian government, so she cannot outrightly disrespect or criticize.
What about
this? Is disrespectful. It's very disrespectful. And I'm hoping that I'm hoping that it's sorted. And there was another angle to the conversation that I wanted to raise, but it's just slipped my mind when oh yes, I had a conversation once with a Nigerian police officer somewhere around the Ibas, and this was just after the 2023 general elections, and he said how they hadn't gotten paid, so they had been allocated to different posts, and he said that he believes or he knows that a bulk of money was assigned to them for that responsibility during the elections,
duties,
but they never got the money. And he said after that year, he was going to return to fishing because he doesn't see how he can continue to sustain his family. And my heart just broke.
There you go.
I was on my way to Unilag for an event.
Is that the same person you expect to guard and protect lives and properties.
When he's saying that he's going to quit this,
he's
and
not in the psychological right frame of mind.
57,000
And
naira.
you give them assault rifles.
well,
And then where they live is not habitable at all.
It's not fit for human
And then you
habitation.
expect them to see someone who has managed to just get a little sucker or a breakout in his life and
you
possibly
think that they'll be
driving
happy?
And be very
see,
friendly.
there's so many factors.
So there's psychological,
so many factors involved.
financial, physical. There's so many things.
So
You're right.
many. So really, we don't know where to start.
Well, just scratching the surface.
We really
the
don't know where
reform
to
in the
start
Nigerian police is a holistic reform that
one.
needs to happen in terms of their salaries, allowances, the quality of life that is given to them, and even lifetime insurance or assurance, whatever you would call it, to ensure that when they die, because
Their
a number of
benefits.
their benefits will go to their family.
that is
Have you heard
another
for some of them
that
that
is
once they
another
die like this, the
conversation.
widows of
they
the
evict them
police are
from
chased out of the
barracks,
barracks? It's a shame.
That is another
Very big
conversation. You see, maybe we should officially, I think that's what we're going to do, we should officially write to the IGP or personally write to the PPRO and let's have him join us here on the
Or
show.
even
Because,
have a police town hall.
yes, a police town hall.
Ooh, that's a good
possibly.
idea.
That's a good one. And,
That's a good
and
idea. But would they
although-
agree to speak?
although since you've let the cat out of the bag, yeah, I'm sure you can trust a News Central. It's what we know how to
But
do
the thing is,
best.
will they agree to speak?
I mean, the Nigerians have this ostrich mentality that you mentioned. If you raise an issue, they think you're embarrassing
No.
them.
No, so-
Channels TV did a report
Yes.
a few years ago on the
Of course,
police
in
living
the-
conditions at the Ikeja barracks, and it led to holistic renovations of their accommodation. But the initial reaction was, "Are
How
you trying to
dare you
embarrass us?
embarrass
What sort of thing is this?" So we'll likely see, and governments are very what's the word? Averse to sensitive to criticism.
Yes. Okay. That's all
I just
about
want
the
to put this out
Nigerian
there as we progress to start the show this morning. For those who are watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. We see your comments and keep them coming. Don't forget to watch us live on GoTV. We're on channel 23. And not forgetting to DSTV and, of course, other social platforms. Today, the conversations would indeed get you talking, so get ready to talk with us. Well, we also want to say kudos to all those police officers who are putting in the work. Let's be honest, we have a lot of them who are doing very well, and well done.